Welcome to The Dream, The Date, and The Broken Bra. I am your host, Stephanie Brownyard. I have an insatiable desire for adventure and knowledge, and with this, I have been on a quest to discover what the purpose of life is and what it all means. In this podcast, we will embark on a journey, the journey of life. With my guest, we will share in stories and celebrate all that life has to offer, from the challenging times to the victories of one's dreams, love, and life experiences. Through authentic conversation and thought-provoking dialogue, it is my hope you will unravel and uncover the magic that makes your life so extraordinary. We all come from different walks of life with different beliefs, but we all have similar desires and needs. Our paths are all so different, but yet we are all so connected. Let's come together to hear each other and to learn from one another and see the beauty in every experience, no matter how difficult or challenging it may be. In the process, we can all heal a little, have some laughs, and perhaps shed a few tears with a whole lot of inspiration. Join me on this exploration to uncover your magic. Are you ready? Hello there. Welcome to episode 1 of The Dream, The Date, and The Broken Bra. I am your host, Stephanie Brownyard. I am so thrilled to be here and so excited to be starting this journey with each and every one of you. So thank you so much for taking the time. I'm honored for you to be listening, and I'm super pumped that we'll be starting this journey together. If you asked me 5 months ago if I would be starting a podcast, I would have told you, hell no. But this started out of a conversation with some friends about 1.5 years ago because I love asking questions that I should start a show. But it was kind of a joke, I think, at the time. But about 3 months ago, after a lot of rigorous self-reflection and self-development, I realized this was actually something I really wanted to do. And it was something I wanted to share because a lot of my learning has been really just learning through people and the curiosity and questions that I love to ask. I love getting awkward with people and just being probably inappropriate and asking those questions that people would never ask because I really have no filter. So here we go. Cheers to that. So I thought if we were about to embark on this journey with one another, I thought it was a good idea if we got to know one another. And I wanted to start by introducing myself and to share a little bit about myself so we could all feel a little bit more connected. I am 41 years old and I live in Carlsbad, California, which is in a county of San Diego. I live here with my husband of almost 10 years. We'll be married 10 years next month in November. And my 2 fur babies, Norma Jean and Jezebel. They're 2 ragdoll cats. And I've lived here on the West Coast for almost 20 years. I moved out here from the East Coast 3 weeks after graduating from college. I grew up in a small town called East Longmeadow, Massachusetts, and I went to a college called Quinnipiac College in Hamden, Connecticut. I really love being from the East Coast. I really feel that I have really good roots, and my personality, I feel that I fit in on the West Coast. I love the sunshine. I moved out here to be by the beach, to surf, and to just be outside all the time. So it's been a real blessing, and it's been really a dream come true. I know when I was little, I just always pictured myself living by the beach. So here I am. But I grew up in a divorced household, which was really, I think back, it was really chaotic and confusing. And I spent a lot of time by myself, but I always had this curiosity of what was the purpose of life? What was this all for? I didn't get it. I was that teenager in the library looking up philosophy books of trying to make sense of it all. So I've just always been on this mission to figure it out. Perhaps it was because I did spend so much time by myself that I just wanted to find some purpose. So I always felt different growing up. I always had lots of friends. I was very athletic. I grew up playing soccer pretty much from like the age of 5 all the way through college. It was my first love. I played pretty much, there was times where I played on 3 different soccer teams at one time. It was pretty much my life. I always was really active. I also felt that was helped me form who I was today because I could work well with people. It helped me to be disciplined and just really a fun aspect and really helpful to have those tools as I grew up. I ventured on to college after graduating high school to, like I said, to a school called Quinnipiac College, or it actually turned Quinnipiac University, which was in Hamden, Connecticut. And there I studied sports medicine. I played soccer. My college experience was challenging, I think, because of playing soccer. It wasn't what it was when I was playing in high school and younger. I grew up playing with my same teammates from the age of 5 all the way through high school. Even when we went off to different high schools, we all still played together on our like premier teams and stuff like that. So when I went off to college, it actually felt like a job. So that kind of made it really challenging, and it made college challenging. But when I was in college, my sister had moved out to California, and I would spend my summer breaks out here in California. And so I fell in love with it. I got really into yoga. Again, all really weird things from being on the East Coast, not fitting in. I started surfing and I just meditating. So I just was really doing like different things than like the people my age were doing on the East Coast. I remember being in college and I would put a heater in my room because I was doing hot yoga in my dorm, like kick my roommate out like when she was at class, and I would do hot yoga in there. So just always doing a little bit different. Now it would probably be normal, but back in that time it was kind of odd. So I just said that towards the end, I was just kind of biding my time to move out to California. My parents knew it. I was bon voyage. So I moved out here 3 weeks after graduating college. And I moved probably like 6 times in my first year. Everything that could possibly go went wrong. I fell on my ass so many times out here. I had like no money, trying to find a job, and my car that I'd bought broke down. But, looking back, it was fun times, that's for sure. In my 20s, I got introduced to the work of the Landmark Forum. And from there, I got really involved in the Landmark work for about 6 years. I did pretty much every single program that they had, and that was life-changing. That was really like the start of just having these aha moments after that. And then from there, I went into another organization called WorldWorks, and that was more in an experiential experience of personal development. Those programs were really amazing. They were very confronting, but really amazing at that time. That was actually through those programs is where I met my husband, Blair. Actually, we had met, but we got engaged through doing that work. That was a really pivotal time for me and really memorable. From our engagement, we were engaged probably about a year and a half, and towards the last 6 months of our marriage, we decided to move back to the East Coast, to New York, for about a year and a half, so Blair could go into working in his family business. So we lived in New York for about a year and a half before we moved back to California when we were married. Living in New York was interesting. I usually I'm the type of person that I'd be like, yeah, let's go. I can do anything. And sure enough, that was what I did. I was like, let's go. Because at that time, I was a personal trainer at the time, and I was coaching these boot camps for women along with doing personal training. And I was always having some other side hustle. I had just quit doing my boot camps because they were like 5 a.m, and I had done them for 5 years, and I just kind of got over it. And he had gotten the opportunity to go work in his family business. And we just, like 6 months before we got married, I thought it was a good idea. So we just a month later packed up and moved across country. We spent 14 days driving across country. And I highly recommend that to anyone. If you have done it, go do another trip. Or if you haven't done it, go do it. It was really fun to explore the United States. We literally, like 10 days in, we're still like in New Mexico. So we didn't really make it that far. We had a lot of fun on that trip, but we made it back eventually to New York. And I just remember being there and not having any family, friends, work. I just got really depressed. And that was actually when I stopped doing any like personal development work, and just kind of from there, I actually probably about a year in, I started loving New York. I started taking some health classes to become a health coach, and we were really into CrossFit. So we really got into the community there and just made some really awesome, amazing friends that were like, that are lifelong friends. That it was actually when we made the choice to come back to California about a year and a half later, it was really hard to leave just because we had made so many great connections with people. So we then ventured back to California. Our travels back from the East Coast to the West Coast, our car ride we did it a little bit more streamlined and took about 5 days to get back. And when we got back, we lived with some friends for about a month so we could get back on our feet. And then it was like starting all over again. And here we are today, 8 years later, and we bought a house eventually and living the dream. I played soccer on and off for a few years after leaving college. And then like I said, I got into CrossFit. And now I train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. My husband and I both train. He's a black belt and I am a 1-stripe purple belt. I've been doing it it'll be 4 years in December. I have learned so much from Jiu-Jitsu, and I have the greatest friends and community in Jiu-Jitsu. I've really found a tribe of people that just are it's so funny. We go in there like trying to kill each other, and it's like all out, but yet they're such an open group of people, and you have to trust your training partner so much because you're trusting them with your body, but you also have to trust yourself and be so present because at any given moment, something can go south. So it's been a real blessing. That took me about 8 years to get into jiu-jitsu. Blair had started before we started dating. And then when we started dating, since I didn't do it, I had asked him to do CrossFit with me. And so we got into CrossFit, and we did that I had trained CrossFit for about, I think, 5 or 6 years. And then he had stopped sooner because he wanted to go back to jiu-jitsu. And then I started probably in a year and a half after he had went back to it. We are lucky enough to have really amazing friends out here that are like family. Really, I think my sister is out here and with her husband and my nephew. I love seeing them. And when your family isn't all out here, you kind of adopt new family members. They always say you don't pick your family, but you get to choose your friends. So is that is that the line? You'll see. I have this list of Stephisms my husband keeps. I kind of mix up things, but I'm sure you'll catch on. So that brings us to this present moment and why this podcast. This, like I mentioned earlier, this podcast kind of came from about a year and a half ago during COVID. I quarantined with some of my training partners because we were training. We quarantined all together because we were all working from home, and then we quarantined together. We got really close during that time, and we talked a lot, and I have this passion for asking questions. I always have. I think where it all started, I had another friend that actually asked really amazing questions, and I just really got that. I was like, oh, she really cares. So I kind of took it always upon myself to ask questions because I never wanted to assume that I knew what the other person was thinking or assume that I understood. So I just really try to get in the world of other people, but I have found that my questions can be confronting. So I never want to be confront, or maybe I do want to be confronting to people, but it's just purely out of curiosity. And I really purely have the best intentions because I just want to understand from that person's point of view. So one of my friends was like, you should start a show. And it was kind of like a joke at that time, yeah, right. But I think actually before another friend and we were skiing one season, and we had this idea to start a show called Chairlift Confessionals. We actually really did this, but we never put it out into the interwebs. But we would talk to people on the chairlifts that we didn't know. So it'd be her and I and some stranger on there, and we would just literally drill this person on there. And I was like, that would be the best thing. So when my friend brought it up to do this, I think secretly I really wanted to do it. And so when my friend brought it up, I think secretly I really wanted to do it, but it was kind of just laughed it off. So then through the year with COVID and all, I think COVID, to me, the time was a blessing. I mean, I know it's been really hard. It's been so challenging and just a very interesting time for everyone. And it's bringing up a lot of stuff for everybody, and the divide and all the different phases we've gone through with this in the past 2 years. But for me, because I couldn't go anywhere, during that time, I just really got to slow down, and I realized how wild or crazy I was because I want to do everything and be everywhere, and I couldn't. So I had to deal with myself and my stuff, and that's what I did. So I really dug deep. Like I said, 5 months ago or 3 months ago, sorry, I just was after really just getting clear and more clarity, I was like, I want to do this. Let's do this. So here we are today with The Dream, the Date, and the Broken Bra. And this title came from a manifestation of a conversation with my friends, my sweet dear friends. They were trying to help me with coming up with my name for this podcast. I was kind of throwing some names out there to them. And then somehow the text thread got into about my friend's love life, which I love, you'll see. And I'll always love asking those questions about love and dating and why people are together and what brought them together and maybe perhaps why they split up, and it's all valuable information. We were talking about her date with this guy, and then it just so happened that another friend, funny story, which I love funny stories, is that she was driving by on her bike and saw my friend who was on this date, and her bra broke in front of her and her date. So it was this really funny conversation. it compiled of the dream and the date and the broken bra. So here we are today, because this podcast purely is going to be a reflection of people's dreams. We all have dreams. I know there was a period in my life that I stopped dreaming because I didn't think anything could come true. But now I know that is a bunch of wonky. So it's like, let's dream and dream big. And then there's dating and love life and marriage and all the fun stuff in between. And then just the fun experiences of life. And that's really what I want to capture in this podcast. And I'm really excited to be on this journey with you guys. I plan to go deep and to ask the nitty-gritty, have some fun, and bring on some really amazing people, just people like myself, everyday people, just working hard out, doing things they love, accomplishing things and not accomplishing things, and just having really amazing conversations, because it really is through the curiosity and learning of people that we can grow and prosper and just really maybe see a different point of view that we didn't know before, because we shouldn't assume. So I am really thrilled to be on this journey with you. Thank you so much for your time, and I'm really excited to get this party started. See you on the next episode. Bye. Thank you for listening. My hope is that this conversation has inspired you with a new awareness and has uncovered some beauty and wisdom within you. If you have enjoyed what you heard today, please feel free to share it with a friend, and please subscribe, rate, and review it on your favorite podcast player. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback for me, please feel free to reach me at stephanie.brownyard@gmail.com. Talk to you soon.